December 8th, 1999.
If gun makers are starting to feel the heat from the government, they should listen to what the president said only this afternoon.
One company advertised an assault weapon by saying that it was hard to get fingerprints from. You don't have to be all broke out with brilliance to figure out what the message is there.
But with the gun industry's back up against the wall, one manufacturer sees a chance to make money.
I don't know of anybody other than myself that's just chomping at the bits to get back into the gun industry.
You have all this news and all this media, it's free advertising. And as you all know, I mean, gun sales this last year have gone through the roof.
Tonight, firing back, one gun maker's view from the inside.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
This is a story about a gun dealer. Actually, he's more than just a dealer, he's a gun manufacturer. He seems like an incredibly personable fellow, you'll see for yourselves. He couldn't have been nicer to our old friend David Turacamo, who stalked him with a video camera. So he gets high marks for charm. He is so pleasant that you have to keep reminding yourself that the guns this man has produced in vast quantities are the kinds of guns generically referred to as Saturday night specials. What more or less defines a Saturday night special is a handgun, small, low in price, and relatively low in quality. They seem to turn up in disproportionately high numbers when it comes to civilians killing one another. Only today, the Department of Housing and Urban Development threatened to provide assistance to 3,200 public housing authorities in their lawsuit against the gun industry. Monetary damages would be measured against the $1 billion that housing authorities spend primarily on security against gun violence. So perhaps it makes sense that David Turacamo's new friend is looking for some warm and fuzzy publicity, something along the lines of the gun manufacturer, friend of the little person. Well, you can judge for yourselves.
Well, I've never been to Reno before, but I was on my way there to talk to, call him a businessman, entrepreneur, American success story. He's also one of the most illustrious figures in the gun industry. That's him, Jim Waldorf. How you doing, Jim?
Nice to see you.
Listen, I don't know why he insisted on meeting the plane. I mean, it's not like we're old friends, but
David, how
okay,
are
we're
you?
having dinner at his
Welcome
house.
to Reno. I'm Lou.
Hey, Lou.
Lou
how
is
you
his
doing?
daughter's
Pleased to meet
fiance.
you. And you're Lori.
He has two daughters.
How you do?
Lori's the oldest. His other has made him a proud grandfather.
Claire at a birthday party.
I mention all this because Jim's company, LORCIN Engineering, and the guns that he made were named for his two daughters, Lori and Cindy.
You're the lore in...
The lore in LORCIN. Should I look at the camera?
Yeah, well, I don't know. What are you?
I'm the lore in LORCIN.
That's the LORCIN. See, guns have reputation, like Colt, Smith & Wesson. They're American icons. James Bond made the Beretta famous. But see, some guns, they're not the ones celebrated in movies and cowboy lore. They're the guns you see on TV, like this, recovered by cops. These guns aren't considered icons, but a scourge. And yeah, LORCIN tops the list.
By 1994, the LORCIN pistol was the most frequently traced gun in the United States. And it was again in 95, and again in 96, and again in 97. LORCIN's .380 semi-auto pistol only went on the market in large numbers in 1992. In a very few years, here's a gun that in essence is on a fast track into criminal use.
This is the manganello recipe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I hope you're hungry.
Oh, yeah.
The next day we headed out towards Tahoe for lunch.
You know, living in an environment like this, you know, away from the city, away from the lawyers, away from the arguments, it's actually quite peaceful, quite tranquil.
I was going to say it's very peaceful, clean air.
You know, there's not too many people that can argue with you on top of the mountain.
See, in all the years I've covered the gun story, no manufacturer has ever given me the kind of access that Jim was willing to.
This is the Sierra Range looking south towards Mammoth.
Given the current environment, what fascinates me about his story is not so much what he does, but why.
How do you become a gun manufacturer? You just get around guns. I mean, that's the only thing that you can do. You know, there is no college courses for gunology, right? It just comes from building, and we have built millions of guns.
But how many do you think you built? I mean,
3 million.
3 million. Whoa.
LORCIN was one of a half-dozen manufacturers in Southern California, known as the Ring of Fire. 6 companies that specialized in guns that are cheap, some less than $100, and small, easy to hide. Well, a lot of people argue that's exactly what a criminal is looking for.
Well, this is what everybody would like to say that they got. Man, I got me a Desert Eagle. I'll keep it in my backpack. Of course, it never comes out because it can't. It's too big. He'd be arrested in a second with a gun that big. This one, what gun?
But don't you think a gun like that is designed for that particular purpose?
Absolutely.
To fit that market?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But, and then you get into, you know, I mean, it's like the old thing about freedom and capitalism anywhere. What about the 60-year-old black man who's on a retirement fund with his wife that lives in the projects and can't move out and scared to death and can only afford $75 for a gun? He's also going to go out and buy this gun. Are we telling him that he can't defend himself because we only have expensive guns?
Well, for years, lawmakers in California have been trying to douse the Ring of Fire. It was only this year that the legislature passed tough restrictions on guns manufactured in the state. Essentially, you can't make cheap handguns in California anymore.
You know, the anti-gunners are going to give you this hysterical stuff about, oh, Jesus, LORCIN, #1 gun traced crime, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me tell you something. We sold a lot of guns. Less than 0.9% of the guns that we sold were ever traced to a crime. And I guess what I'm saying, David, is the whole hoopla about the California companies is people don't like the price of our guns. They don't like the fact that poor people can own guns. Firearms ownership in the United States has always been, and probably always will be, an elitist class of people. If you have the money to buy the gun, you're certainly entitled to own the gun. But that prohibits people, poor people, from their Second Amendment right of having a gun for self-defense.
Well, whatever prejudices a reporter brings to the gun issue, you have to step back and realize that probably half this country is going to disagree. I mean, okay, I'm in Reno and I get a cab back to the hotel that night and the driver's telling me how some guy tried to stick him up the week before and, well, he was ready for him.
Is it legal?
Yeah, well, it's kind of.
So Jim's in Reno to open a new gun company. He says he only closed LORCIN last year because of a string of lawsuits and problems with his business partner.
So if I had it my way, I wouldn't have closed LORCIN.
Really?
Yeah. I would have fought the battle.
Wow. And your decision to move to Nevada is because
It's a free state. It's where people are real and politicians are nice.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Dell Computers.